The Ridge Runner with another Pine Home preparedness moment. Okay, now there are a lot of ramen noodle things out there, noodle bowls, noodle cups, all kinds of things. And I want to talk a little bit about the idea of using ramen noodles as part of your preps. Now, ramen noodles seem like a great idea, and in some ways they are. But you've got to be careful with ramen noodles because they are definitely a junk food. Now, the nice thing about ramen noodles is they're quick, they're easy. You boil up some water, and you put the ramen noodles in there, and then you let them sit there, and they eventually become a food-like substance. They get you full. Now, if you've ever been really, really hungry, you'll understand how distracting hunger is from being able to do anything. And as you get more hungry, you get less able to do things in general. And at the end of the day, it's a hot meal in a pinch. They're light, they're easy, and most importantly, they're cheap. Now you'll notice these don't look like ramen noodles you see usually. I go to the Asian markets to get mine because they have better flavors. But you can get them at Walmart or just about any place else for that matter. Now, pros and cons. Here's the pros. Again, light and easy. You can throw a bunch of these in a backpack, and if you've got a little pot and you got these and some water, you're in business. It's something to eat. And that's about it. Now, with a lot of these, you're going to find that they give you, usually the ones you buy at Walmart, you get a flavor packet, which is basically the equivalent of some bouillon and salt. Lots and lots of salt. When I mean salt, I mean huge amounts of salt. The salt content of these things is absurd. Now, there's your problem. Salt is something that can definitely contribute to dehydration. On the other hand, we need salt. So if you're sweating a lot, adding a bit of salt to your diet is not a big thing. But Americans, and apparently Asians, oversalt the living daylights out of our food, as well as over sugar and anything else. If you know people from other countries, European countries or whatnot, one of the first things they remark about is how much we over-season our food. Now here, just to talk about seasonings, we have in this one here, which is actually a halal one. I never knew that Asians had. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's a hot chicken flavored ramen, and it's actually really good. I'm going to tell you, I really like this stuff because I like spicy, and this is spicy. And it comes with a liquid packet of goo, and this goo is spicy goo. And then we have this other packet, which I don't know if you can see through here. I can see, you might not too. There's bits of freeze-dried vegetables in here, which add a little bit of something vegetable-y, more for flavor and than anything else, to the meal. Over here, we have one of these cup of soup jobs. Now, this, of course, is the Asian variety. And in case you didn't know what it was by reading it, or if you can't read, it's made of cow. Yes, this is a cow. You're looking at what a cow. No, actually what this is it's a beef flavor, okay? And this one comes with 3 different seasoning packets. This is an oil seasoning packet. This is your powder that you see everywhere else in the world. That's like the 98% salt thing I was telling you about. And again, another packet of, and you can see in this one, little vegetables and things. Isn't that cute? And this one came with something else, a folding fork. Now that sounds kind of silly in a way, but when you don't have a fork, it's kind of nice to have one appear here. And this is something that if you had one of these in your kit and you took it with you, you didn't have a fork, once you're done eating this is folded back up again and goes into your gear. And it's small. And if you're into that ultralight crap, that I drill holes in my toothbrush thought process, well, that's pretty darn light. Now, pros are that I keep mixing cons with pros because there's so many cons with these things. The cons are that you do have a large amount of salt in this. You do have a large amount of high fructose corn syrup involved in the making of the noodles themselves. If you're looking for carb content or trying to control your carb content, this is not where to go. There is a lot of sugar in this. There's a lot of nonsense you just don't want in your body. So, like the average prepper, when they first start out, they start out by purchasing things that they can afford that they think last a long time, and ramen noodles are a big one. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but when you do, if you are going to purchase ramen noodles, do not just purchase ramen noodles. First of all, try and find the ones with a little more substance to them. They just taste better. You get bored after a while of the same cup of soup stuff. The other thing is that you can do things to boost the calorie count and the quality of these things. You can shred up, and I do mean shred up vegetables. Use a mandolin or whatever and shred up the vegetables and add those to the thing to your ramen noodles, and that adds some flavor. While they're boiling, you throw the ramen noodle brick in there, and you, while it's boiling, crack an egg in there, mix it up, and it adds a lot of protein to the diet. Other things you can do, of course, you can add different sauces, and you can just forgo using these things altogether, and you can use tomato sauce. You can add meat chunks to it. You can do all kinds of things. You can use these to bolster a meal, to make I only have a couple little pieces of meat, and I only have this or that, but when I take this, it makes it so it's a filling meal. And that's where I kind of categorize these things. These are things to bolster a meal. Or, as like I said before, in a pinch, they're a meal in and of themselves, but not something you want to live off of. So, when you're talking about prepping, your first and most important priority with prepping is to ensure that you're getting the amount of calories and nutrients you need to be able to live well in a disaster situation. Bear in mind, you need about 1,800 to 2,000 calories to lean against a rock and sit there and stare. That's it. Sit there and stare. When you get into having a situation where you're chopping wood, and you don't usually chop wood to cook your food and boil water or whatnot, and you're doing tactical things in a tactical sort of way, and you're running around, or you're lifting and you're carrying and you're hoeing a garden and you're doing all these other things that you're not accustomed to doing, or what most people aren't accustomed to doing, you can triple that. You need to triple that amount of calories because you're burning it off. Now, the calorie counters in the audience, that's great. That's good stuff for you. But being a muscle-bound Arnold Schwarzenegger freak is actually not that good for you either. When you have a low body fat content, too low a body fat content, your body immediately starts cannibalizing muscle because it has no fat to work. That's another problem with a lot of these meals. They don't have the kind of fat you want, the stuff that's going to burn, your body's going to burn to make energy. It's just not, they're not enough energy producing food calories in these things. So, long and short of it is, sure, get your ramen noodles, but they're not your only prep item. Just like rice or beans or anything else isn't your only prep item. Be sure when you're starting to prep that you think of a well-rounded, balanced diet. You need it more when you're in a disaster than you need it now. So, with that, I'll say adieu for now, and happy prepping. I'll have more preparedness recommendations coming up very soon. Until then, this is the Ridge Runner signing off.